Well, hello, friends. It's Jewel here, and welcome to season one, episode one of the Perfect Job Show. I am so excited that we are premiering tonight. So, let me tell you what we have coming up. Episode one is the proven framework to land a $200,000 plus VP position in 6 weeks or less. Now, let me tell you how this show came about. What I really want to do is educate you on what's required to land your perfect job. There's a big difference between landing a job and landing the perfect job for you. So I see it as being perfect when we're looking at it through a few different lenses, okay? Perfect job is in your zone of genius. It's where you live and breathe. The perfect job is the one that you know in your heart, your mind, your soul is right for you. Okay. And it's where you step into that future that you've been envisioning for yourself. It's where you get to that next iteration of you. So it's YOU 2.0. The perfect job is where you get to be authentically you, and you can do work that's meaningful and impactful, and you're finally free to do what's important to you. Okay, the environment is right for you. It's energetic. There's hope. There's success. There's embrace in that environment. All kinds of people who bring all kinds of different complementary things to the table, and that is all valued. So, what I'm really talking about here is the perfect job, hence the name of this show and why I decided to launch this program. So, welcome to the Perfect Job Show. The reason I wanted to do this is an educational program. This is going to be an educational series because this is what I absolutely hear about 10 times a day, 5 days a week. Jewel, I need to clean up my resume. Jewel, I need to tweak my resume. I need to polish up my resume. And guess what? That ain't it. Far too often, what happens is people think the resume is the problem or the resume is the thing that's holding you back. And what I'm saying is that the resume is just a mere symptom of the problem. If the resume were the problem, then you could just go get the best, most expensive resume in the world, and you could use it to land your dream job by next week. Problem solved, right? But we know it doesn't happen that way. You don't just slap a resume together, even a really good one, even a really expensive one, and have that dream job by next week. If that were the case, everybody would do it. There'd be no reason for me to be here talking or for you to be here listening. And so, what we want to do is make sure to use the Dream Job Show as a vehicle for education and drop some knowledge on you about what's really required in order to land that dream job that you want. Now, this is a show just like Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, Apple Plus, every place else, we have episodes. So here's what you can expect every week, every Tuesday, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be when I drop a new live episode. It's going to be 30, 40, 50, 60. I meant to say 30, 45, 60 minutes max. The show type is going to vary from week to week. So I'm going to tell you right now. Some episodes I'll teach a principle. Some episodes I'll bring on a client. Some episodes will be open Q&A. So it'll be a combination of me teaching things and you definitely learning from the clients. Let me also tell you this. Season one of the Perfect Job Show is guaranteed. Each week is built on top of the week prior. Whether I do a season two depends. Are people attending? Are people engaging? Do you like it? So just like the TV ratings based on market feedback, I'll decide whether to bring the Perfect Job Solution Show back for season two. So if you want the show to come back, watch every episode that I put on the air. And I am going to host a replay vault. So you'll have access to it and I'll mail out the replay as well, email out the replay as well. But live is better because a two-way conversation is always better. So live gives you the opportunity to ask me questions. Today's episode is the proven framework to land a $200,000 plus VP job in 6 weeks or less. So today I'm going to share lessons and walk you through some pretty big breakthroughs today. Some of this is philosophical, mindset, beliefs. Then we'll spend the second half of the show talking about the path for how you can get the responses you need, the callbacks you need, the interviews for the good opportunities that you want, and how to move through the interview process so you can hear some good offers. Now, when it comes time for me to kick off my professional career trajectory, it was something else before this. It's something else before what I'm doing now. My field was journalism. So I slapped my experience onto a resume. I formatted it, I polished it, I sent it off. I started with radio stations in Philadelphia. There are 104 stations. And do you know how many of them called me back? 0. So I got no response. I understand what that feels like, especially as it sinks in, as you fill out more and more applications and more time goes by. Now, in my process, I decided to level up my job search, right? So if Philadelphia radio wasn't going to happen for me, I could expand my area. Now, this time, before I applied everywhere, I decided to make some key changes to my resume. And what I did was I expanded my skills so I could be more of that jack of all trades. With another 50, 60 resumes out there, I'm still doing this mass marketing of myself. Now, you know that phrase, radio silence? Well, it hurt more for me because I was actually literally trying to be in the radio business. So now I'm at 175 resumes out there for jobs that I felt like I qualified for. I was pretty confident about that, and I got nothing. This was a problem because I didn't know what to do next, right? So a new version of the resume wasn't the solution. Expanding the jobs I was saying I would take wasn't the solution. And putting the resume out there to even more places wasn't the solution. So I was playing that numbers game. That didn't work. Something had to change. The radio station where I got my early experience had a broadcaster there, and he announced the traffic. So he provided traffic to all the radio stations in Philadelphia, and he knew I had been looking. He asked me, how's it going? And I said, okay, well, it's not going. So he said, let me help you out. Let me show you what to do. And he became my mentor. And I'm telling you, his mentorship changed my life. That is breakthrough number one. Now, if you don't have a coach, if you don't have someone you can ask questions of and bounce ideas off of, you're definitely missing out on a lot of opportunities. So he told me the steps. He said, number one, here's what I want you to do with your resume. Say who you are, say the main thing you do, and say how you believe you can bring value to the organization. Okay, that's number one. And then number two, he said, you have to actually speak to somebody. I recommend so-and-so. That's who you need to reach out to. Step two. Step three, he told me to make sure that I lock up my interview before I even get there. And he said it would be an audition, and he went over with me what they would likely ask me and the steps that they would put me through. So see how a mentor can teach you things and walk you through the steps and tell you what's going to work and give you such a leg up that you don't have to waste time. Those were the 3 steps that it took for me to land my perfect job. And I never forgot those steps. So they're actually exactly what I use to pivot into the coaching company that I'm the head of now. So to pivot into the position that I hold today. And over the last 22 years, I've been doing this for people. I've learned a lot. I have it down to a science because I've done it and replicated it for person after person after person. And there have been hundreds of people by this point. So Noelle, She got hired in 8 weeks. And she said, I stepped into a director level marketing role, give me a $10,000 salary increase. Patricia, 6 weeks to get hired. She said, I had to put out probably 150 resumes. I'd only gotten a couple of phone interviews. Other than that, it was a ghost town. But Jewel put my story together in a way I never would have done so that the employers immediately understood. Carol took her 9 weeks to get hired. Partnering with Jewel gave me additional creative ideas about how to approach my job search. And I felt more confident, right? Confidence, that's the thing that we all need. Confidence is going to be one of the keys that's going to propel you through your job search, all right? You have to have confidence about what you're doing so that you can keep that momentum going forward. Mark, 45 days to get hired, took a month and a half from when they first called me until I got the offer. Pam, 6 weeks to get hired. And she said, not to mention, I got a double-digit salary increase. Let me dive into the lesson that's the center of the episode today. The proven framework to land a $200,000 plus VP job in 6 weeks or less. Here's what's important at the 6 and 7 figure levels. It's important to be thoughtful and intentional about your career management. So I'm talking about not only the next job, but also longer term, look at your career trajectory. Intentionality is key to not only increasing the chances that you land the perfect job that you truly want, but also that that job is a fit over the long term. So here's how to be strategic about what's next in your career. Number one, I want you to start with vision. And I don't intend for this to sound all, woo-woo, kumbaya, we're gonna hold hands. What I'm telling you right now is if you don't have the vision for yourself and you don't hold that vision for yourself throughout your job search from the beginning to the glorious end, when you step into that vision and make that into your reality, then the strategy and tactics are going to slip right through your fingers. So I just had a client, Marlene. She landed her VP role in the last few weeks. And she now works at the largest pro sports stadium and live entertainment arena in the country, entire United States. Vision was her first step. Matter of fact, the position that she got really actually ended up exceeding her vision. So what Marlene saw for herself was an executive leadership role specializing in guest experience. And here's what it looked like in her mind's eye. She mapped it out. There are specific bullet points, okay? Your vision needs to be specific. It's not, oh, I have a vision for my perfect job. So let me tell you what Marlene's bullet points were. Bullet point number one, located in Los Angeles near her closest family. Bullet point number two, work that expanded beyond the title so that she could deliver impact in additional ways. So doesn't it happen sometimes, maybe more often than we would like, that the job that you end up being in is expanded beyond the title? So the title doesn't really indicate what your actual duties and your actual impact is, okay? And then her third bullet point was she wanted the job to be the platform or the springboard for the next phase of her life. Now, oftentimes what happens is our thinking starts off with, okay, I see that's possible for someone else. That's nice. That happened to Marlene. That's great. But then our thinking needs to evolve. So it applies to ourselves. You have to see what's possible for you, your career, your household, your family, your life. Because if you don't hold a vision for yourself, you'll self-sabotage consciously or unconsciously. And that causes emotional pain because you can't move forward in your life. Okay, if you get in the car, but don't type anything into the GPS, where do you expect that you're going to drive to? You're stopped, you're stuck. So let's get unstuck. Okay, number two, gain self-awareness. Put some thought into clarifying how you deliver impact and the type of professional environment where you want to thrive. So tactically, here's what that looks like. So take notes because you can immediately take this and implement this and move the needle in your job search. That is the purpose of this program, okay? This is the WWV method. WWV, who you are, what you do, and the value you bring. WWV. Those are the three questions for you to ask yourself. Who am I? So for example, are you a person who wants to lead or contribute? Do you lean more to the creative side or the tactical side? Are you known for ideas or execution? A result of looking inward can be creative marketing leader who ideates multi-platform strategy to build brand awareness and drive consumer engagement. And then the next W is what are the things that I do for which an employer would pay me? Now here, this is important. I want you to think do as opposed to be or is. You may be someone who's detail oriented. Perhaps you're known as someone who is committed, or you may be passionate. But think about those things that I just talked about. Detail oriented, committed, and passionate. The employer is not reaching into their back pocket every 2 weeks to cut you a check for being committed. Rather, let's think about this. The employer is paying you for what you actually do. You may be a person who conducts sales management. You may accelerate revenue growth. Perhaps you innovate new technology products, okay? Think about what it is you actually do and be specific. And then the V, okay? So I want you to write down, number one is the W, okay? Who am I? Number two, what do I actually do? And then the V in the WWV is, what is the value that I bring to the table? So what can help you identify value is asking yourself, it's a little bit of a snarky little question. The question is, so what? So here's how that goes. Well, I'm in operations management. So what? That means my job is to make sure all regional warehouses run efficiently. So what? Well, the year before I started, the warehouse operation was running at a 12% loss. But in the year since I've been here, I turned that around. So now we're at a 6% profit year to date and on track for 9% profitability by year end. Ding, 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 ding. That's the final answer. Tactically then, it's WWV, who I am, what I do, the value that I bring. So I want to make sure you wrote that down so you can think about what that is for you. Reflect on those questions, gain self-awareness. Now, I help clients walk through that WWV. It's unique, and I offer a unique methodology for you to find the answers that you need, and the answers are already within you. That's what I help clients with. And by the way, just like I help you see what's within you, I help the employer and recruiter see you as well. So in Marlene's case, she had already paid for a professional to do her resume. But because she hadn't laid out that vision before that happened, that resume got her absolutely nowhere. And so there was pain for her in that, okay? The wheels were spinning and she wasn't moving forward. And to be perfectly honest, she swore she was not going to pay again. And I get that. I get that pain there. And I also get that pain that comes from not moving forward in your life. And it's easy to turn that outward and say, well, that person is an expert and they didn't help me. Listen, experts come in all shapes and sizes, and they give you all different varying levels of results. Now, you know something, I have relentlessly invested in mentorship. And that goes back to my story about my very first mentor. He sparked something in me. And my mentors have been different and varying levels of quality for me as well. So I know exactly what that's like. But I've used investing in professional mentorship as a tool to springboard forward and forward again and forward again in my own professional career. So you have to be in the right professional mentorship circles. So here's what you want to ask yourself. Who is the mentor leading? Where are you seeing success? Because the mentor's success is nice for the mentor, but doesn't necessarily matter for your life. The question is your mentor turning out success for other people over and over and over again? Because in the last several weeks, Rob landed his new VP customer success role. This was at an international tech startup. And Noelle was desperate to get out of her utterly toxic work environment. She went from application to offer with salary increase in 8 weeks. We have another Rob. He went from job searching to job found in less than 3 weeks. He landed a VP role. And Patricia is a director level brand marketer. She went from sending out 150 resumes that got her only 2 phone interviews to using our system for 6 weeks and landing her dream job. Kimberly is a chief marketing officer. She landed not 1, but 2 jobs, catapulting from a senior manager role to the top marketing position in her new organization, CMO. And I could literally go on and on and on because we have the system already dialed in. First step, vision. Believing that the dream that you want, it's not a big deal. Don't hold your dream up on a pedestal because you can't have what's on a pedestal. You've automatically set it far and apart from yourself and who you are. So how can you possibly achieve it? But when you lock arms with a mentor who can look at you and say, okay, I've seen what you've done. I see what your expertise is. And more importantly, I see who you are. One of the things that's so important is that, I hold up a mirror for people, but my mirror is not the typical mirror because what I reflect back to you is a reminder of who you once were when you were in your glory days and who you absolutely can be once again. One of my roles with you is to remind you that you can achieve this. You deserve to achieve this. You deserve to step into the position that you want in your life. Okay, so I'll give you an idea of how you can work with me here. I will actually offer a free 15-minute new job game plan where I can help you through this very thing, help you get crystal clear on what your WWV is in the marketplace so that you can stand out. So I'm going to help guide you through who you are, what you do, and the value you bring so that you can have that unique competitive advantage. All right. Do you want to stand out? That's what almost everybody tells me. I need a resume that will help me stand out. So if that's what you're looking to do, I can definitely help you stand out. Even if right this second, you don't know what you want to do or you don't know what you want to say. So this is how I teach. This is exactly how I'll do this in the game plan call. So this is a simple example that we just went through. So I have this diagnostic method to pull this out of you, WWV. And the one-on-one call is specifically designed to really craft this out. So don't think you have to have this all drafted in the next 10 minutes. I know that you took notes. You don't need to have it all figured out. This is something that I want to work with you on in order to start to plant this seed. And planting the seed is just another way of me saying micro commitment. You're making a micro commitment by showing up to the live Perfect Job Show. Take advantage of the free one-on-one call because that's a micro commitment, saying you want to gain clarity on your WWV, who you are, what you do, and the value you bring. And I want to activate that micro commitment for you. That's why I show up right now and do this work on this live program. Then one-on-one, we'll do the deeper work together. And what this does is it lays the foundation for what you're going to say on the resume. Because I also hear day in and day out, well, my resume is missing what I really do. I don't know how to articulate my value. I don't think my resume presents my full story. So I can't get too deep here into structuring the whole resume during this episode. A lot of magic and pixie dust involved in what turns your resume from information to illustration, from dead obituary to live story. But I will say this for right now. Before you send out another resume with 25 different areas of expertise, and before you apply for a variety of things in an effort to cast a wide net, and before you stuff your resume with imposter keywords about being a resourceful team player and committed to delivering results in a fast-paced environment, and all of that junk, let's do the one-on-one call first, because WWV is first. A lot of people think it's all just resume, like, hey, let me get my resume together. But what I use is a proprietary method for structuring the resume in order for you to get the responses you need, the calls back you need, the interviews for the good opportunities that you need, and move through the interview process so that you can hear some good offers. And this needs to be something that presents you at a high level so that you can get hired at a high level. So that's what I teach. If you don't have a reliable methodology or structure to do that, then you're going to have a hard time getting responses and calls and interviews. So the resume, when done correctly, is generator of the responses that can come in days after you release the resume. And I have clients who wrote in their LinkedIn recommendations, in their testimonials, in their success story, they put the resume out there and got a response within days. You need to have the conversations and the phone interviews, and the resume is the generator of all of that. So let me tell you something about episode 2. I'm actually going to break down the mechanics for you, because the oxygen that fuels your job search and drives the momentum is going to be the resume, but that's not all that it is. Okay. Have you gotten value so far? All right, now I've got the next 8 episodes of the Perfect Job Show all fleshed out for you. Perfect Job Show is going to be more valuable than any free webinar that you've ever seen. My special offer for you tonight is free. Now, I just walked you through WWV, who you are, what you do, value you bring. What do you feel like is your weak point out of those 3? What do you feel like you don't know how to articulate quite the way you want to? Well, what if I told you with a very few tweaks, we can completely up-level your messaging, change the game for you. This can capture the right attention for you. It can generate calls back for you. So I want to talk with you one-on-one about who you are, what you do, and the value you bring. WWV. It's a free 15-minute new job game plan call. We're going to do 2 things. So number 1, take a look at what is working in your job search. Number 2, flip side of the coin, take a look at what's not working. So if you think it's the resume, more likely it's WWV. Let's fix WWV. That's the foundation that comes first. That fixes the resume. That fixes the message. The message then gets attention. You then get responses. You then get calls back. You then get interviews. You then get offers. I want to give you some insight into the proprietary method that I use to make your resume into that response generator for you. Nothing for sale on this call. Nothing for sale on this call. Free 15-minute call. The purpose is to give you insight. Now, you may be a perfect candidate to work with me here. If you're a good match for what I have, I'll tell you that, and you can book a second call with me if you want. At that time, we'll take a deep dive into your job search. But initially, I will say this, one of my core values and the way I operate here is to do what's right for the client. I do turn away a fair amount of people. I only support 25 senior leaders at a time. So this is a very small shop that I run here. So if we're thinking you're right for what I do here, I'll send you some homework. I'll give you some training just to make sure we're on the same page by the time we get back together for that deeper dive call. Okay. So the link to go to is perfectjobshow.com/my game plan. And I'm going to do two things. Number one, I'm going to put it in chat. And number two, I am going to drop it in the comments below the live video as soon as the live video ends. Now, this is priority scheduling, first come, first serve. Open up that link now and we'll walk through things because I just want to make sure that you have access to everything that you're going to need. You're going to want to move quickly on booking this call because this calendar is going to fill up. So let me go ahead and hop on over to the page and let me make sure that you can see the page. So you have the link. All right, wonderful. So this is what it looks like. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to, this page, and this is how it appears. So go ahead and scroll down, and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so that we can see more of the page. Yeah, it's too big. And you're going to go ahead and select a day. So these are the days you can select. I'm just going to pick one and walk you through this. So it's a 15-minute appointment. You're going to go ahead and pick your time. Let's say it's 10:15. You're going to go ahead and click confirm. And go ahead and enter your details, name and email, phone number, answer a couple of questions. So I do want to know at the outset, what do you see as your next level? And you're going to tell me senior manager, director, vice president, SVP, C-level, etc. What's the top challenge you're facing that's standing in the way of your job search? Be as specific as you can here, okay? What is happening? Are you sending resumes out and you're getting no responses? Is it crickets? It's going into the black hole. Are you getting some calls and having phone interviews, but you're not getting past the phone interview? What's going on there? Let's get together and then I'll diagnose it. Do you not know what you want to look for? That's obviously a roadblock standing in the way of your job search. Do you know what you want to look for, but there are not enough opportunities? You're not seeing enough online. Maybe you don't know how to uncover those opportunities. Okay. Have you not looked for a job in a long time? If you've been in your job for a long time, then that stands to reason you haven't looked for a long time. So quite often what happens is I'll get someone who hasn't looked for a job in like a decade. Well, if the last time you looked for a job was 10 years ago, goodness gracious, everything has changed. Everything changed from a year ago. Everything changed from 2 years ago. All right, give me some idea of the kind of salary that you want to go into and that type of thing. And then you can scroll all the way to the bottom and go ahead and click schedule event. I'm not going to schedule the event because I'm not booking a session with myself. Now, let me say this. If you click schedule event and you get an error, all that means is that somebody else picked the day and time that you wanted and filled out those questions a little bit faster. Here's what I want you to do. Go back to the top of the page and click the back button. Click the back button on the calendar itself. Do not click the back button that's on the whole browser because you will get yourself turned around and that's not what we want to do. Go ahead and click the back button on the browser and then you should be good to go. Okay, so in doing that, that is definitely first come, first serve. The link to go to is perfectjobshow.com/my game plan. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that is in a comment under the live video. And once you have gone to the perfectjobsolution.com/my game plan, you can go ahead and drop a booked in the comments and let me know that you're all set. And if you want to tell me what day you picked, that would be awesome as well. And then I'll go ahead and talk with you and we will go over what's going to happen. You'll also have the opportunity to send me your existing resume. So I'll take a look at that. And remember, friends, it's pure insight. What is working for you right now? What is not working for you? And let me walk you through the WWV as it pertains specifically to you. That's everything that we're going to do on the free call. All right, let me give some shouts out to a couple of people who I see have already booked in. All right, Marcella has come on board. Nicole has come on board. Shirley is here. Shireen is on board. Melinda is with me as well. Okay, these appointments are going to fill, obviously. Okay, fantastic. Charles has decided to come. Lee is on board. Carolyn is here. Okay, fantastic. Stephen is on board as well. That's what I see so far, which is excellent. Okay, so go on over perfectjobshow.com/my game plan, and we'll go ahead and do your game plan call. I also want you to stay tuned. Episode 2, going to be right here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You are not going to want to miss it. For right now, friends, signing off, season 1, episode 1 of The Perfect Job Show.